Hello, everyone. Good morning, or good afternoon, good night, whenever you are in the world. I'm Felipe Hoffa, developer advocate for Snowflake. And today we are live with Samartha Chandrashekhar again. How are you doing, Samartha?
I am doing very well, Felipe. And before we get started, happy birthday to you, Felipe.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for remembering. Yes, it's my birthday today.
Any fun
So
plans lined up for the rest of the day?
Fun plans? Well, this is a great way to start the day. So many people are coming to this party. Later, I'm meeting with friends. And tomorrow, my tour around Sao Paulo and Santiago, Chile starts. So I'm looking forward to hopefully meet a lot of you. And
Very, very
Samartha,
cool.
can I ask you for a birthday present?
Well, let me try wishing you in my
Uh-huh.
in my mother tongue, which is Kannada.
Ooh, okay. How do you say happy birthday in Canada?
Uh,
Canada.
ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಬ್ಬದ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕ ಶುಭಾಶಯಗಳು is how we say it in Kannada. I can also try it
Huttidabado.
in Hindi.
Uh-huh.
Janam ka hardik abhinandan.
Janundin Kahartem Abhinentem.
Yeah, close enough.
Close enough. Thank you, Javan. So, anyone that can tell me happy birthday in your native language, they would be awesome to hear. Like, how do you say happy birthday from Angola, Adilson, Francisco Luis? Uh, so, yes, I'm in California today. We are going to discuss cost controls with my friend Samartha. Uh, let's start very strong, Samartha. You've been here on the show before. In fact, I have this playlist with all the Snowflake cost optimizations videos that I found. And so far, we've done three lives, uh, two with you and one with Scott Redding. How is this one different to the previous ones?
So this one is new and different, largely because we're focusing on brand new functionality called budgets, which just went into public preview a few days back. So as you might be aware, we've broadly organized our efforts into visibility, control, and optimization. This one is squarely in the visibility bucket, focusing on brand new functionality that we're very excited to share.
Brand new functionality. That's super cool. So, uh, yes, and just to remember, like, the first one we had was live with cost optimization on Snowflake. We did like the overview of how to do cost optimizations. Then we had Scott Redding. He's awesome. He got to work with Instacart and many other customers saving their costs, and he has this great vision on observability and accountability. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about scaling to zero. So, how do you see these topics interacting with each other?
I think they all go hand in hand. So in terms of your journey, you'd first want to get visibility into your spend. Next, once you get visibility and you have a reasonable idea of what you want to control, etc., you might want to use existing inbuilt capabilities to actually set spending limits and caps on your cost. And then, of course, there is always the opportunity to optimize, either in terms of optimizing compute by right sizing your compute, or by optimizing queries by potentially rewriting them in a manner that is more efficient, or potentially the use of certain serverless services like auto clustering, materialized views, search optimization, etc., which can also help unlock better price performance. So that is what the overall journey looks like. And like I said, this is sort of squarely in sort of the visibility and maybe a little bit in the control bucket, but this is special because we're going over brand new functionality that just went live.
Perfect. And let's remind everyone, why are you the perfect guest to discuss these topics?
No?
What's your job at Snowflake?
Certainly. I am from Snowflake's product management team. I lead a team of PMs responsible for various things around compute, as well as cost governance and workload optimization. And so, what you're going to hear about is essentially work that my team and I did towards helping customers, get the best bang for their buck for their Snowflake spend.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, especially because sometimes, especially competitors of Snowflake love saying things like Snowflake is expensive. There's so much work being done at Snowflake to optimize cost, to work with customers. And it's not only about getting costs down, but making everything better. And that's really, really awesome. Side note, because we are live, everyone can ask live questions. Samartha is ready for everything you can throw. Uh, but right now, I'm reading a lot of happy birthday wishes in Spanish. Feliz cumpleaños, Rosemary. How Oli Laha now in Hawaiian. That's great. Uh, I have Amulia Megas, and I have Van Harte He Feliciterd. I think that's Dutch, and also Chinese and Arabic, but I don't know how to read those. Anyways, let's get back to cost controls. This I recently saw this blog post like 11 days ago. More effectively control and limit your expense with budgets. What's happening here?
Yes, so budgets is brand new functionality. This is a blog that PD, who was on my team, put out. So this is brand new functionality that will essentially help you set spending limits for your Snowflake usage. It can do so either at the granularity of the account, or you can go even more fine grained and set up budgets on custom groupings of credit consuming capabilities. Um, and um, and yeah, and there's a lot to talk about here. It can provide notifications not just reactively, which is when you exceed a certain threshold, which is a pre-stipulated budget, but also a very important part here is excuse me, especially as we look to actualize workflows like FinOps, etc., is that it's very important to proactively get notified. So what this functionality does is it looks at the trajectory of your spend based on your current burn rate, and then it notifies you if the trajectory has you exceeding that threshold, as opposed to just waiting for that threshold to be breached. So that, in our view, is powerful functionality that can actually help you plan your spend, set a budget, sort of, if you hit a cap, take corresponding downstream actions, etc. And again, you can do this both at the granularity of an account as well as a custom grouping of resources. And of course, we have a whole bunch of things in the pipeline in terms of making this available at the organization level, providing additional notification and alerting modalities, improvements to our time series forecasting logic, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, I love how this blog post is detailing all of this, and we have screenshots. But do you have a demo for us today?
Yes, yes, yes. I have a live demo that I'm
Oh,
excited to share. So let me know if you can see my screen.
mhm. We
Waiting
have
for
your
this to
screen
come up.
now.
All right. So what you see here is budgets, which is in public preview in action. So this is under the admin left nav tab under cost management. Everything that you see here in the UI, which I'm going to use for the purposes of convenience, can also be done programmatically via SQL. It's just more convenient to show it via the UI, which is why, for the purposes of this exercise, I'll go with the UI. So, instantly landing here, what you're looking at is this thing which is effectively what's called an account level budget. So this is the spend for my account, and this here represents the threshold. This line here represents sort of the burn rate, and where it has me, you know, or the trajectory that it's showing me. In this case, what it's telling me is that my current spend is above budget. I can also go modify the budget itself. So, for example, I can make this say 32,000 credits a month. I can set my email address, and then I can go ahead and perhaps save changes, um, and it should go ahead and update itself. So, as you see, now I set the budget to 32,000 credits, so I'm very much under budget. If I was over budget, I would get notified, and we have a throttle of one notification per day, essentially telling me that my current burn rate is having me at a trajectory that would have me exceed my budget before the end of the month. Now, the important thing to note here is, at least in V1, the budget is set on a monthly cadence. So it's the beginning of the calendar month to the end of the calendar month, which is also the cadence that we use for our Snowflake bill. And then what you'll also see here is essentially what fraction of the budget you've already spent, and what fraction of the interval, which right now is the calendar month, has already elapsed. And what you see here as a chart is essentially a cumulative value that sort of gets added on, and also you can see how that trends over time.
I love it.
Furthermore,
I love how budget is not a set constraint. Like the budget, as you can see here in the dotted line, increases linearly throughout the month. So it's not like you are, yeah, if you just set a budget, a static budget for the rest of the month, of course, that's not as helpful as this projection. So I love it.
yeah, I mean, the other interesting part here is, let's say, you start in the middle of the month.
Mhm.
Let's say you don't start on the very first day of the month, as is the case in this example. What we do is we go backfill the usage from earlier in the month, and that would be shown in a different color, of course, in the visualization. And then you can look at sort of the usage that had happened before you set the budget, and then the usage after the budget, and then how that all sort of comes to play based on the budget threshold itself that you set towards the end of that month.
That's great. And this is at the account level right now?
This is at the account level. So, what's in
Mhm.
the works right now is
Ah,
to make budgets available at the organization level as well.
excellent.
Now, in addition to the account level and the stuff for the organization level, which is in the works, there is also the ability to set custom budgets on any custom grouping of credit consuming resources. Now, initially in V1, this is limited to only compute spend, which includes virtual warehouses and serverless services like QAS and search optimization, auto clustering, etc. in the unit of Snowflake credits. The thing that is coming soon is coverage for storage and data transfer costs as well, which is currently not available in the public preview, but we're hard at work trying to add that. But what you can do right now is you can go set custom budgets. So these are all examples of test custom budgets that I've set. So let me show you some of this in action. So for example, I can go set, I'm in the process of creating a brand new custom budget. I'll call this demo budget maybe 7 because I've created a few of these. And maybe I'll set a spending limit of 100 credits a month. And this is my email address to which notifications will be sent if, again, usage exceeds the projected limit. And then I can go select resources to monitor. So I can go select databases or warehouses. In this case, let's go look for this warehouse that I've been using called test. Maybe add a few more. And these are all credit consuming artifacts that are associated with this custom budget. And I go create this budget.
And when you say artifacts, they can be what kind of objects?
They can be, in the fullness of time, it will be all credit consuming artifacts, including storage and data transfer artifacts. Right now, it is essentially anything that has a compute cost footprint,
Perfect.
um, which includes tasks, pipes, warehouses, um, yeah,
Yeah.
serverless services, QAS, and stuff like that, etc. So, this is what I created. So let's see. So this will fill up in due course. So there's a task that runs behind the scenes that will go sort of measure things and fill it up. So that task runs every 6 hours right now. So this will get filled up in due course. But what you see here is I have created a budget on a custom grouping of credit consuming resources.
Mhm.
Um, where did that go? Maybe we choose an existing budget that we've already created just
But
to show you this in action.
by the way,
So, for
I see
example,
you have played a lot with this feature. You are testing your own dog food.
oh yeah, of course. We, in fact, the first customer was Snowflake itself,
Uh-huh.
where we started using this for our internal use, for our own um, data warehousing use cases and BI dashboards and stuff like that. So yes, we eat our own dog food.
Yeah, that's
So
a
in this
fact that
case,
I just wanted to say that that's a fact that gets lost on people too. That at Snowflake, we use Snowflake for everything. Like that's how we run the company and optimizing costs and making the most efficient use of all the resources that we use is very important for Snowflake too. So these tools are very, very useful for ourselves.
I concur,
Mhm.
and like you might have seen with your own businesses and companies, we also have a finance team, and we're also a publicly traded company, and it's important to get costs under control, etc. So our finance teams are also on our case, saying, hey, what are you doing to manage spend? What are you doing to optimize spend? What are you doing to ensure that what you're spending on Snowflake is accruing in the best possible manner towards the business? And these are some of the tools that we've also battle tested with our own finance teams ahead of time, to see if it passes their test in terms of what they're looking for, as well as sort of the owners of internal Snowflake warehouses and use cases, and various workloads across the board, for you know lots and lots of business functions.
That's awesome. So right now we're looking at your custom budget for certain resources.
Correct. So this was a budget that was created a while back, very similar to the flow that I use to create a brand new budget right now. So in this case, you see a bunch of resources have been associated with that. So now, this specific, in this specific case, the budget threshold is here, which is the dashed black line, and
Mhm.
then it is over budget, and so what this would be doing is every day it would be sending the registered email address for this budget a notification saying, look, your projected spend is or your
Gotcha.
your burn rate has you exceeding your budget threshold for the end of the month. And that itself is a notification to take downstream action. Downstream actions could be either you raise the budget itself, which might require certain other business approvals, or you can go look at the use case here to see if there is grounds to optimize it. Like, for example, is this warehouse, which seems to be consuming the vast majority of this credit consumption against this budget, is this right sized? Is this well utilized? Are the queries that are running inside that something that we're happy about with respect to how well written they are in terms of efficiency? Are there Cartesian joins? Are there full table scans that can be avoided? Things like that. So this, again, not only does it set a spending limit, but also when there is a breach in terms of this threshold, it also provides a forcing function for investigations like this. The other thing that I want to explicitly call out is we've long had this capability called resource monitors. In fact, in the previous video, we went over resource monitors, and we went over sort of mechanisms to flag warehouses that don't have resource monitors. The biggest difference between budgets and resource monitors that have long existed is that resource monitors are scoped to a single warehouse. Budgets can be used on a wide range of credit consuming resources beyond just warehouses. And also, their scope can include multiple of these objects. So, you can have a budget at the account level. Soon, you can have a budget at the organization level. You can have a budget on on a custom grouping of credit consuming resources, etc. So that is the primary difference.
Yeah, I love how
The
it.
other
Yeah, I just want to say I love how it goes beyond warehouses. There's other ways to
Yeah,
pull
no, that's true.
resources,
Uh,
and you can group.
Well, it continues to be the case that warehouses are most likely the largest footprint from a spend perspective on most customer bills, but there is far more to that. And also, budget gives you the flexibility of including multiple warehouses under the same custom budget and things like that.
Yes.
The other thing that I wanted to call out explicitly is how budgets works behind the scenes.
Hmm.
So behind the scenes, we are running a collection of serverless tasks for measurement, for backfill, etc. Now, those are serverless tasks that you would see show up on your bill because it's running in your account. So budgets itself is available at no additional cost. So we're not saying that you have to pay more to be able to use this capability. However, any underlying usage, because it happens in your account, would also show up on your bill. And this includes tables that are used to store budgets, the serverless task that runs once every 6 hours, which also is sort of this message says latency can be up to 6 hours because that's the frequency at which that serverless task runs. One of the things that we're working towards is to make this customizable based on your use cases, where you might want things to show up more frequently, or 6 hours might be excessive for your use case, etc. The
So
other thing, go ahead.
and you can you set a budget on the budget? Is that,
Hopefully, you wouldn't need to. In most cases, the footprint of the budget itself is fairly negligible, to the point where the vast majority of our customers should not notice. But no, a budget is, at least currently, not an object that you can associate with another budget.
Good. And I have a question here because we have to answer
But
live questions too. Sometimes I get the full name, but sometimes if your privacy is strong, I don't see the name here. But someone is asking, do we have to have a running warehouse to see this screen?
yes, so in this case,
Mhm.
this warehouse test is the running warehouse that I have.
Mhm.
And the other interesting part or important thing to note here is, in this case, I'm running as account admin. So to use budgets and to be able to modify budgets, you either need to be account admin, or the account admin needs to delegate access to be able to perform these operations to another user role. And
Mhm.
so yes, those are two prerequisites. Like with most other things, this runs on an existing warehouse. So this is a warehouse that I'd created for the purposes of this demo. And yes, this does require this running warehouse.
Yeah. But most of the work here is not done when you load this screen, but as a serverless task that's compiling the data.
Correct.
Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Let me ask you more questions. Well, this is not a question, but Paul loves the easy way of fixing the budget, as you just demoed.
Yes, you
Um,
can. I mean, it's as simple as go ahead, edit, and then boom, you can change the text box. One of the things that we also show while creating the budget, I don't know if I drew attention to that, is that we show you the spend, at least for the account, for the past 3 months, so that can help inform a value that you can set. Because otherwise, look, you're staring in the in the darkness, like, hey, what's a good budget? So we do think it might take a few iterations to get the budget just right. Either sort of it's bottom up, and you get it right, and it might take a few iterations, or it's top down, where your finance team says, look, for this workload or for this account or for this collection of accounts, this is the budget that we can approve, and that becomes the de facto budget that you're operating with.
Excellent. I have another one from Ravindranath. How to see which day has more utilization?
So the chart here
Mhm.
should hopefully provide you that by eyeballing that. So for example, this is all cumulative. So if you see there is additional growth compared to the previous one, that is an indicator around sort of there was more usage on that date. Additionally, you can also go look at individual artifacts. So for example, outside of the budgets view, so for example, if I go to consumption here and select, say, a specific account, in this case I was using this account, and maybe I go filter by compute. If I want to maybe go look at a specific warehouse, we'll wait for this to come up. Maybe this test warehouse, which I've been using for a lot of my demos. um, I can go look at usage here just for this artifact, and I can
Aha.
go from last 7 days to maybe last 28 days, and this should hopefully load up quickly, and show me. Again, this is querying from, I think, query history, which stores data for the past 2 weeks. But I can go eyeball this and look at sort of when there's been usage, when there hasn't been usage, not just at a budget level, but also on a per individual credit consuming artifact level, like I showed you with this specific warehouse.
Excellent. So that's an excellent answer to Ravindranath. If you want to explore like what's happening underneath, it's not only the main visualization here. You can go deeper by resource and by day. That's awesome. And an important question from Rupa. Is this available as a view so we can put it somewhere else in a different dashboard?
So yes, anything that you see in the UI is powered by a SQL query against something else. I mean, for budgets, we have a database called Budgets DB, so we query that. There's also this artifact called an account level budget that you can query it if you have appropriate permissions. And certainly, by virtue of being account admin, I certainly do have those permissions. So yes, all of this is recreatable. Let's say you're a user of Power BI or Tableau, and that's your primary console, or maybe something else. So all of this can be recreated right there, because anything that you see here can be programmatically fetched, including what your projected burn rate threshold is, and stuff like that. Um, In fact, one of our solution architects had also created and distributed a PBIX file, which is a Power BI template file that at least attempts to replicate a bunch of this functionality, in a readily reusable manner in Power BI.
I love it. So that's a great answer because yes, this is all underlying data. We built Snowflake built the UI that customers wanted, but you have all the access to data, and that's also a great answer for Ravindranath. You can use the tables and SQL or other tools to go dig deeper too. Um, New question from Madhivanan. Can you configure these budgets only at the monthly level? What about quarterly?
Now, this is a great question. So, currently in the public preview that we just announced,
Mhm.
it is the duration of the budget is the calendar month. However, we are working hard to ensure that this duration becomes customizable. You might want it for 3 days, you might want it for a week, you might want it for a fortnight, you might want it for a quarter, you might want it for the duration of your contract, which could be a year, which could be 18 months, which could be 3 years, etc. So we are working hard to make, but the duration of the budget itself customizable. It's not available right now, but I'm hopeful that this is something that we can land quickly.
Yeah, and I love how these questions are being directed right now to the PM in charge of this. So, yes, this is Snowflake listening to customers. Uh, you already mentioned a little bit about this, but Saikir and Mai would like to know how to grant access to roles other than account admin for this page.
Yes. So yes, it is possible to do that. Our documentation, I won't go over all of the details, but in our documentation, we go over a section around how the account admin role can actually delegate access to other roles. It follows the same permissioning and RBAC mechanisms that are used to delegate access across Snowflake. So you don't necessarily need to be account admin unless, of course, the account admin has already delegated access to your role.
Excellent. So the privileges account admin can decide who sees this. And speaking of this, didn't get the name of this LinkedIn user. Is how can the emails be sent to users in the roles that have access to the resources, or just the owner or the admin of the budget object? Who gets the notifications?
So the emails, I mean, you can send it to any number of folks. The limit is the number of email addresses that can be registered with an email notification object. So in this case, so there's one email address here. I can using a comma separated list add my own email address, at snowflake.com. Add more email addresses and so on. So yes, this can be sent to multiple email addresses. This can also be a distribution list if you've set it up that way. So yeah, it's not just the owner of the budget. It can be all of the emails. I mean, in the UI, we've simplified it as a comma separated list. But if you go use SQL, the way to do it is as a prerequisite step, you'll have to create this object that's called an email notification object in Snowflake. And associated with an email notification object can be a long list of multiple email addresses. And that email notification object can be registered with the budget, and everyone affiliated with that will be sent an email.
That's great. So the UI is simple, but the underlying mechanism lets you configure it in a way more powerful way as a notification object that's associated to the budgets.
Correct.
And Rupa has another question. What about the cloud service cost? How is that associated to
No,
budget?
this is a great question. So the account level budget also includes the cloud services cost.
Mhm.
Now, what we don't have currently is the ability to create a custom budget that uniquely addresses the cloud services part as a specific object that you can associate with that budget. We are, it is something that we're thinking about, and it's on our roadmap. But the account level budget that you see here on the screen that includes cloud services costs associated with that account.
Excellent. We're about on time, so let's do a quick round of the questions. I know you love leaving no questions unanswered, but let's
Certainly,
go
let's
very
let's
fast.
go over all of them quickly. So
Uh, Breakdown of the visualization to see where the growing spend is. That's something that Paul would like to see.
no, this is great feedback, Paul. In fact, I'll tell you this: one of our aspirations is we have this consumption view that provides you this detailed drill down where you can click and drill down, etc. But this budgets view does not necessarily let you do that. So what we're hard at work on is to combine these to be a single thing, where similar to the consumption view, where if you click on a specific artifact, you can go, you can drill down into details. You can associate things with tags, and these tags could be things like cost centers, and then you can aggregate based on that. We want to merge the two capabilities into a single view so that you don't have to to move across tabs to drill down into specific details.
Beautiful. Samarth, is there a way to download usage chart?
um, Not directly from the UI, but you can query for this. So everything is powered by a bunch of tables. Which there's a database that's that's registered, that's called Budget DB. So you can go query there and get all of this info. In fact, there is nothing in the UI that can't be explicitly queried, because the underlying data sources are in Snowflake DB, and views like account usage. Those are the same things that are powering the UI. It's
These
a
are
visualization on top of existing data.
all Snowflake objects. Amitesh wants a PBIX file. I don't know how do we surface it. I know you know it exists, but
I
where
know it
should we share
exists, so
it?
let me do this. I don't have the link right away, but I know I can find it. So maybe I'll follow up and post it as a comment on LinkedIn with a pointer to it.
Yes. And this question might be a little long, so maybe answer it in 3 words, but they want to know the differences between Azure to this. I think that's like a longer topic.
Yeah, so I think the question is, what are the major differences from cost management plus billing in Azure to this? I'm familiar with Azure's cost management console. I'll say two things. I think Azure, of course, gives you an overview of all of your spend across multiple Azure services. It may not just be Synapse or Azure VMs. They have a plethora of Azure capabilities, from Azure Storage to Azure Functions to Azure VMs, and so on. So I'd say the expanse of it is larger there. One of the things that I think uniquely differentiates this is the ability to forecast based on a projection, and also get proactively notified based on that projection. Last I checked, I did not see that on the Azure console, but I'd say I'd call that out as a unique difference here.
I love how they ask the perfect person because you are familiar with both, and also you're very proud of the features we are launching. That's what makes this special.
Right.
And to end, let me quote Rupa. Great, thank you. Hopefully, people love this. It's always a pleasure to have you, Samartha. And any closing words before we bring the dancing bear?
Certainly, I'll reiterate one thing, which is that at Snowflake, we are committed to ensuring that customers is something that they can get the best bang for. And we have a pipeline of capabilities along all three: visibility, control, and optimization, to help make that happen. What you see here is a subset of some of the new features that we've put out, especially in terms of visibility and control. But there's a lot more in the pipeline to help with cost optimization on Snowflake.
This is awesome. And I'll be looking forward to all these announcements and requests from our users. I love being on the
Certainly.
middle between
I'll add one
PMs and
last thing, which
yes,
is
sir.
nearly everything that we do is based on customer feedback. And this is
Mhm.
a capability that's in public preview. There might be things that you like, there might be things that you dislike, there might be things that you wish existed, there might be things that you wish we had done differently. Please, please, please route all of your feedback to me, or Felipe, or via LinkedIn comments, or you saw my email address. Feel free to directly send me email. It's only based on your feedback that these products and their capabilities evolve. So we're all ears to learn about your feedback.
We're here, we're listening, we love you all. Thank you very much. Let's bring the dancing bear. Thank you, Samartha.
That's
Thank you,
all.
friends.